Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. I am your God Man Bear Pig 97 and today we are back with Day Our Survival. Now in the last video, if you recall, we just got the motorcycle built. We picked up everything. We were extremely overcumbered. So since that video, I decided to fix said issue. While doing that, I realized I had some dusty notebooks and some recipe books. Read those, got a level up. Now, when I got that level up, it gave me a particular perk that you must check out. This perk, the Executioner's perk. Killing restores 1 action point. That perk, I've mentioned before in previous videos, is the best perk to have. That has saved my skin so many times, because essentially you can go in and every time you kill somebody, or an enemy, so to speak, it gives you an action point back, or you can just keep on trucking as long as you're able to drop them with one hit, so to speak. And once you get up where you have decent weapons like the Nagant, rifle or the SVD, one shot generally can take out almost anything. Almost. Keyword being. Now, let me see here. We are about to start this quest because if you recall in the last episode, we were in the process of trying to grind out materials for the motorcycle because this quest required me to have a motorcycle. I wasn't sure why I would need a motorcycle for this quest, but it did dawn on me that this quest we are actually supposed to be after, searching for the truth. I'm looking for Gina in the rubble. Like, that is the quest that I am on. So I can only assume that we might find this gentleman alive, since it's requiring us to have a motorcycle with a side cart. Okay? It has a side cart, which only leads me to suspect that maybe it's because we need to carry a passenger back. I mean, theoretically speaking, that seems about right. I do not know. It's something that I don't know, man. Shut up. Alright, let's start this quest off and see what happens. I made my way through the dusty entrance and up the stairs. On the 3rd floor landing, I encountered a pile of concrete rubble that almost reached the ceiling. A lone piece of blah, 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 blah. Quit jumping. Thank you. I hate when it does that. I can't read it when it moves like it does. A lone piece of steel piping was sticking out of the pile, and the corridor beyond was blocked by a cracked flooring slab from a floor higher up. A large hole gaped in the ceiling above me. I shone my flashlight up and could make out the cracked ceiling of what must have been the 5th floor. Similar cracks snaked along the plaster on the 3rd floor. Keep going. The rubble was more imposing than I'd expected. It was going to take me several hours to clear a path using a crowbar or shovel, and that was being optimistic. I surveyed the cracked wall distrustfully. The load-bearing wall behind the rubble was missing. I'll have to work very carefully if I don't want the building caving in on my head. Clear the way. Over 3 hours had passed before I managed to get past the barrier. The muscles in my arms were aching with fatigue. I'm in a hallway with broken concrete piled up half a meter high. There are 3 apartments here. One of the doors is opened. Maybe Gina was there. Maybe he still is. Search the apartment. That looks like him. It looks like he's just taking a nap. Come on, Gina, get up and walk it off, buddy. Just take your salt tablet and roll around. It's okay. I found Gina's body in the kitchen. Poor kid. Chunks from the walls and ceilings were piled up on his torso. I listened and heard a low whistling sound. He was breathing. The kid was still alive. I needed to get him out of the rubble and look him over as soon as possible. I set the flashlight down and started lifting rubble off his body, but not even a minute had passed when a muffled rustling came from the corridor, and a lynx scurried into the kitchen. The noise must have drawn its attention when I was clearing the blockage in the stairwell. The lynx had definitely been exposed to radiation. It was unnaturally large, and it had green swellings on the bald spots of its body. Yummy. Withdraw your gun. That is one ugly putty tat. I thought I saw a putty tat. No, you saw a creepy ass kitty. That's not a good kitty. The lynx looked at me appraisingly. Then it turned towards Gina and dropped closer to the ground. I'm holding a gun and the lynx doesn't even see me as a threat. This isn't the first time I've seen this. Predators exposed to radiation seem to have lost all fear. They're like rabid dogs. Their instinct for self-preservation has been suppressed. Now their primary instinct is hunger. Now we can shoot the lynx or we can wait. Now I'm 95% sure that if you wait, you're not saving Gina. It has been a minute since I've done this quest, but I can almost guarantee you that if you do not shoot that lynx immediately, it is going to have him a Gina manwich. Real talk. So we're going to shoot the lynx and go ahead and mess him up. We're going to mess him up good. Kick his ass, Seabass. Alright now. Let's see. We take that, we'll throw that on just in case, because you never know. And if you don't know, well, now you know. Take that, putty tat. Pow! Right in the kisser. I said pop goes the weasel because the weasel said pop. No more, Mr. Nice Kitty. When the lynx was dead, I dragged the heavy carcass into a corridor and got back to work. Gina was mumbling something and weakly pushed away at the air with his hand. I shoved the largest piece aside and saw a sledgehammer. Strange. I got Gina out and gently carried him into the room and laid him on a small couch. Looked the kid over. His left leg was only badly bruised, but his right shin bone was definitely broken. Gina wouldn't be walking for the next few months. He was a good-looking kid. He had an intelligent face, freckled, and he was really young. How do you know if their face is intelligent? I mean, is it like either you look like Albert Einstein or you don't? Like, how do you just look at someone and say, he has an intelligent face. He must be a smart boy. No more than 16. I fashioned a splint for his leg. Gina's eyes opened slightly. Thirsty. Give the sick kid water and food. Gina perked up a little after drinking some water. He even tried to eat something. Lie down and don't move, I told him. You're awfully energetic for somebody who's been trapped under rubble for a day. Your right leg tells a different story, though, and you've probably swallowed some radioactive dust. That sucks, Gina sighed. Will I be able to walk? Right now? No way. And in the future? Spit. Clean water, too. Honey one. You took my honey, homie? Bro, you could have gave him some beef or some rusks, not my honey. Besides, you have to. Who will look after your mother if not you? She sent you? She didn't send me. She asked me. Are you going to bring me to her? Don't you want to rest a little first? No, I'm sick of laying around. The hell, kid? I just saved your life and you want to give me attitude? I'll slap the flavor out your mouth, pull my belt off, and bust your ass. Little chitlin. Bring Gina to Tula camp. How are you feeling? I asked when we were out of the city. Gina didn't answer me. He was lost in his own thoughts, unpleasant ones, judging by his grimace. I sighed. You should be thrilled to be alive and thanking your lucky stars. You had every chance of dying back there. Is that bastard already back at camp? Who are you talking about? Vanya? He came back. Why are you calling him a jerk? Because this is all his fault. His fault? Care to share a little more detail? Gina grimaced. All right, in that apartment, we found a crate full of booze. Vanya said we should celebrate. What was I supposed to do? My mother doesn't let me drink. You refused? Gina looked at me like I was crazy. Of course not. and she won't find out. So we drank, we hung out, then we started looking at other apartments in the building. They were all off. Then Vanya remembered that the kitchen wall in the first apartment was all cracked. He said we could make a hole and crawl through into the apartment next door. He took a sledgehammer from the storeroom and started hitting the wall. Okay, you couldn't come up with anything better than that? Gina continued. The wall held, but the ceiling started crumbling. I yelled at Vanya to stop, but he just kept hitting the wall over and over like a psycho. I tried to take the sledgehammer, but he punched me, and he kept battering the wall. Gina squirmed. So the ceiling caved in. I was on the floor, in agony, couldn't see anything, couldn't breathe through the dust. When I recovered a little, I noticed that Vanya was gone, along with our backpacks, and then there was a crashing noise on the stairs. The whole building was shaking. I thought I was done for. So that's what happened. What do you have to say? So we can say, the way I see it, you're both at fault. You shouldn't drink during an expedition. If you'd been sober, breaking through the wall wouldn't have seemed like such a bright idea. We could also say, and what's Vanya's crime? He thought you were a goner. Anybody in his place would have done the same. He got out of there while he could. Or Vanya shouldn't have abandoned you. He acted like the worst kind of jerk. Personally, I think they're both at fault. What? What the hell are you saying? Gina clenched his fist. You're defending him? You don't get it. This bastard left me to die. He didn't even check on me, and it was his idea in the first place to break through the wall. I told him it would end badly. Finding no endorsement from me, Gina turned away and was silent. We had entered a patch of fog. It became harder to make our way across the rough terrain, so the conversation was dropped. Go to the camp. When Gina saw the lights of the camp in the distance, he suddenly asked to stop. What is it? I asked nonplussed. I thought you wanted to go home. Home will still be waiting for me after I've done this. Do me a favor. Turn off into the grove and go along the path. There'll be a meadow after about 100 meters. What are you planning? I'll tell you when we get there. Come on, you don't mind, do you? Intrigued, I didn't argue. 5 minutes later, we emerged in a small meadow covered with fine, dry grass. There was a pile of embers at the edge of the meadow next to a fallen pine. So my guess is this was a previous camp where they hung out. We're here. Now tell me straight. What are we doing here? Help me get out. Get out? Feel like going for a stroll all of a sudden? I've got a better idea. I'll take you to your mother, and after that you can walk around all you want. No, you don't understand. When they see me in the camp, it will be too late. I frowned. What will be too late? Gina thought for a while and then gruffly asked me, Can I borrow a gun? I scoffed. A gun? What do you need a gun for? You can either tell me what you have planned or I'm taking you to Nadezhdia right now and you can work out the rest on your own. I don't owe you anything. That's it. I'm done. We're going back to the camp. Gina grabbed my arm. Fine, I'll tell you. The thing is, there's somebody I want to talk to right here without any witnesses. And with who? With Vanya. Vanya's not here. Vanya's at the camp. This is where I need you to help me. You need to go back to the camp and bring Vanya here. Tell him whatever you need to, and when he's here, we'll talk without witnesses. I could either say, you know what? I'm not your errand boy. Deal with this Vanya on your own. We're going to the camp. End of story. Or, all right, let's say I'm willing to help. How would I do it? Let's do that. Let's see what happens here. I got a feeling I know what's going to happen. He blames Vanya for leaving him to die. Regardless of whoever's fault it is, he truly believes it's Vanya's fault, and odds are he's going to have me go get Vanya, bring him there so he can kill him. Great, Gina said eagerly. I'll tell you everything you need to do. You leave me here with the gun. What do you need the gun for? For protection. There are wolves in these woods. The irradiated ones are like rabid monsters, and just in case Vanya goes psycho on me. Keep going. I didn't like his tone. Gina continued. Go to the camp, tell Vanya that you saw some elk. Ask him to go hunting with you. He loves hunting, so he'll definitely say yes. Bring him here and we'll talk things out and settle things for good. I can say, fine, you win. I'll see what I can do, but I don't like that at all. Or, hey, how come you don't want to tell me your camp people how come you don't want to tell your camp people what really happened? Vanya will get what's coming to him. Are you kidding? Gina let out a low whistle. You think they'll punish him? Have you even seen our camp? It's full of women. They'll yap among themselves and get back to their business, and nobody will want to go up against Vanya. Are they afraid of him? Some of them are, but the others know that he'll hold a grudge and take off for another camp, and that'll leave only 3 men in the whole settlement. Who will go out scavenging? I can say got it, but do you really think there are no other options? Or, Gina, I understand that you want to get your revenge, but are you not going to kill him? But you are not going to kill him. Are we clear? Let's ask him, do you really think there are no other options? Hey, you already promised to help me. You gave me your word, so keep it. Gina thought for a moment and then pointed at a fallen tree. I'm going to wait for him there. Help the kid get to the fallen pine. Gina sat down, grabbed onto a protruding branch, and tried to get comfortable. Ow, that hurts. What were you expecting? One leg is just a big contusion and the other has a broken bone. You could stay here even if you had no legs at all? What? When I was sure that Gina wasn't going anywhere, I walked back. Wait, the gun! Screw it, let's load the gun and offer it to the kid. What's it gonna hurt? Gina could have screwed him over, because it kind of does sound like he did, but at the same time, they're both kind of at fault. Then again, he is a kid, so he probably didn't know any better, and I'm wondering why would Vanya want to get rid of Gina? When Gina anxiously took the gun from my hands, I got a bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. I shouldn't let this happen. I shouldn't. The kid examined the gun with the kind of sick glee. Now this is what I call a gun. Spent the Makarov handgun and 8 PM rounds. But I don't understand. I don't understand why this is necessary. Don't worry, it's just in case, Gina said, quickly tucking the gun into his belt. He was obviously worried that I would change my mind. Don't shoot yourself accidentally, whatever you do. Don't worry, Vanya showed me how to shoot. He even gave me a few lessons. So get him here. He frowned, seeing my hesitation. Hey, you promised. Kid, screw your promise. You're fixing to try to kill somebody, and so help me, I will put a bullet in you if you're gonna keep fucking with me. Go get Vanya in the camp. I tried not to meet anyone's eyes as I made my way to Vanya's house. I didn't want to answer any more questions. Vanya wasn't alone. A half-naked girl was brushing her hair sitting on the corner of his bed. Vanya was lying under the blanket on his side, sipping liquor from a crystal glass. The girl blushed when I appeared, and she hastily put on a long sweater and left. Vanya didn't even seem to notice that she had left. Keep going. Did your mother never teach you to knock? Vanya asked and poured himself another drink. I'm here for a reason. When I was on my way to Novomoskovsk, I saw some milk. Fresh meat wouldn't go amiss. My supplies are running low. Will you give me a hand with the hunt? You go on, Vanya yawned. Look, Drifter, I'm relaxing here. I almost died along with Gina in Novomoskovsk. And I'm still freaked by it, so beat it. I can either tell him that Gina survived and wants to see him. You can relax another time. If you don't want any trouble, get dressed and let's go. Or relaxing is good. Aren't you going to offer me some food? You invited me, remember? I'm thinking maybe telling him Gina's alive would probably do it. Let's find out. When he learned that Gina was alive, Vanya sat the glass on the table and turned onto his back. I didn't see his face. When I finished speaking, he said nothing to me. Well, I asked him impatiently. Nothing, he replied. Gina survived. That's great. Good for him. Good job getting him out. Go tell the others. They'll smother you with kisses. What do I have to do with this? You're not coming with me? No. If Gina wants to talk, he can come here. We'll celebrate his rescue with a glass of our hard-won Bryant's liquor. And we'll raise a glass to you, the savior and protector of the poor and needy. His tone enraged me. Listen up. Either you come with me now or what? Vanya asked in amusement. You're going to shoot me in the middle of the camp? Hit me? Well, some savior you are. Go back to Gina. You really screwed that up, Gina complained when I told him about my talk with Vanya. You couldn't come up with a better approach? Fine, let's go to the camp. I'll have to handle this myself without your help. Bring Gina to the camp. Gina sulked on the way back, every so often casting hostile looks my way. Are you going to give me the gun back? I asked at the entrance of the camp. Take it, I don't need this stuff, he snapped, handing the gun over. The camp's inhabitants saw Gina and abandoned their chores, rushing forward to embrace him en masse. I stood aside to wait. Gina returned the hugs of his campmates, but his eyes were grim. Got my gun and ammo back. Helped Gina get to his mama's house. Nadezhda was standing in the doorway to her house. I could tell by her face that she couldn't believe her son had survived. Only when I laid Gina on the mattress did she fall upon his chest, sobbing. Mom, don't cry, it's okay, Gina begged, trying to console Nadezhda, but she just cried harder. Gina looked at me and made a helpless gesture. I nodded and left, quietly closing the door behind me. Looks like I'll have to wait a little longer. Keep going. As I was standing there, a group of women flocked around me and started loudly thanking me for saving the boy. When they finished, they demanded that I tell them the story of Gina's rescue down to the last details, and that's when I looked over their heads and saw Vanya. He peered in through the window of Nadezhda's house, then headed decisively for the door. Are you sure you should go in there right now? I called to him. Of course I'm sure, he replied impassively. We're still friends. I want to see him, and Vanya disappeared behind the door. Follow him into the house. After disentangling myself from the throng of women, I went into Gina's house. I saw Nadezhda in front of an open chest. She was looking for something in a box of medicine. Gina was lying on the mattress. Vanya crouched down beside the mattress, and they were conversing in whispers. When they saw me, they both fell silent. Vanya stood up, dusted himself down, and went out the door, almost bumping me with his shoulder as he passed. Go up to Gina. Did you talk? I asked Gina quietly. We talked, he replied coolly. And? It's none of your business. He turned away and closed his eyes. I'm fixing to slap the shit out of both of these little bastards with their little attitudes. I'm gonna be real up with you. I'm finna knock the shit out of both of them. Like, they don't know shit. Been living in this camp probably most of their fucking lives, all nice and fucking happy-go-lucky. And they're gonna talk to some survivor that's done traveled halfway across Russia. Like, there's some Mr. Get-Bad. Like, dude, I would knock them down, drag them out like they were a freaking burlap sack of potatoes. Oh, I'm sorry. Forgive me, please. I still haven't thanked you. Nadezhda put her hands to her head. When I saw my boy alive, all senses just left me. Don't worry, I said with a smile. I understand you thought he was... Yes, I thought it. We all thought it. But, Nadezhda brought a handkerchief to her nose. But when you went to get him in Novomoskovsk, for a second I dared to imagine you bringing him home alive, just for a second. And when I actually saw him alive, thank you. Luckily I found him quickly. It could have been too late. If I'd been a few hours later, I think he would have died of dehydration. Or the radioactive lynx that was about to munch down on a genius sandwich. Gina's had a rough time. Let's leave him to sleep in peace, Nadezhda said to me. We went out into the yard. You want me to give you some information, I recall? Ask me your question. Go ahead. Yes, I wanted to find out what happened to your husband. What happened to Andre? Nadezhda's expression shifted. What is it that you want to know? Nadezhda, you see, I'm trying to find out the truth about what happened back then, the epidemic, the nuclear war. I don't understand what you mean. How could Andre be involved in that? He died long before the epidemic broke out. Dead? He was executed by firing squad. Nadezhda closed her eyes. What? Okay, well, if y'all think back, this, if I'm not mistaken, I'm wanting to say that this is, what's-her-name's mother? Svetlana? And she claimed that her mother said that her father died some innocent minor way. She's saying he was executed by firing squad. Nadazdia closed her eyes. It was obviously that the memory still caused her great pain. They charged him with treason, found him guilty, and they killed him. Okay, so she lied to her daughter. That's the only thing I could think of it that could be. Can you tell me more about it? I'm afraid I can't. I don't know any more details. It was all classified, the investigation, the trial. I wasn't even allowed to see Andre. I know he was arrested at the institute where he worked. I received a letter from the investigator. It said that Audrey had been arrested. He was charged with collaborating with the USA and that the trial was in a week's time. It was a closed hearing. The investigative committee wouldn't even allow family members to be present. Keep going. That's pretty interesting. I traveled to Moscow. I tried to get in to see the investigator, but he refused to speak to me. He just said that the case was cut and dried, that there were witnesses, evidence. Your husband, he said, cut a deal with the West. He handed over important information. Nadazdia let out a sob. At first I didn't believe it, but Andre had changed recently. He stopped coming home on the weekends. He never talked about his work, and he never picked up the phone if I called him in the evening. Huh? And you don't know any more? No, that's it. You know, there was something else I didn't want to know. I was like a bolt from the blue. My Andre, a traitor to the motherland. I couldn't get over it. But my only concern was that Gina never find out. You don't happen to have anything written by your husband? Notebooks, diaries? We had nothing like that at home, but his room in Moscow, I don't know. The KGB turned the apartment upside down. They took everything they could, and after, I heard that when Moscow was bombed, a fire broke out and the whole district burned. Fair enough. Nadazdia was waiting for my next question, but I just stood there, stunned. I certainly had learned something new, but what now? Where should I go? And what should I look for? Even if something in the apartment had been missed by the KGB, it would have been lost in the fire that followed. Was I going to have to go back and search the Institute of Virology again? Nazdia, you don't happen to remember the investigator's last name, do you? The investigator's surname? No, I'm sorry, I don't remember. Then maybe you know something about your husband's colleagues? Well, I know George Nesterov. He was basically the head of their lab, a good man. He invited us to his house for tea when I went to Moscow to visit Andre. I saw Sheshkov a couple of times. And this Sheshkov, what do you know about him? I know his first name, Leonid. Leonid? He and Audrey were old friends from school, but he never visited our home. I saw him at Andre's birthday party, and then we went to his home once. Well, it wasn't his, it was his sister's, Larissa. And do you remember where Shashkov's sister lives? In Oriel. It was a new housing development. I'll give you the address. I don't even know why I remember. Well, thanks. I suppose I have to go to Oriel now. Safe travels then, Nadazdia said, smiling at me. Thank you for helping an old woman. Gina is the only good thing I have left in this world. And you brought him back to me. Even though I never thought I'd see my son alive again, you're a good man, and I believe that everything is going to work out for you. Thank you for your kind words and your help. Oh, wait, I have something for you. Nadazdia ran into the house and returned quickly. Here, take it. It's worth nothing compared to my son's life, but I hope you'll find it useful. Got a flashlight. Thank you and goodbye. Ooh, and some gas. Is it a fancy, pretty flashlight? Oh, snap, dude. That is a nice fat fucking flashlight. That is one heck of a flashlight. We'll take it. So, after my conversation with Nadazdia, I was completely worn out, but never mind. Looks like I'm headed to Oriel. And what? What were the chances that I would find anything useful in Shashkov's sister's house? A sister I'm not even certain he was close to. And then an unexpected thought crept into my mind. Could there be a connection between Andrei Kulik's betrayal and the epidemic that started simultaneously across the entire country? And if there is a connection, what is it? I read the telegram from the Novgorod suicide again. They are. Now, no. While there's even the smallest chance of success, I'm going to keep moving forward. Oh, well, good. We've already been over there, so that's a plus. Well, that's all the time we have in this video. It took me exactly a half an hour to finish that quest. So in the next video, we will progress this story mission a little further. So if you like what I'm doing and you'd love to see more, please hit that like button, subscribe, turn on bells for notification. Get down to the chopper, Sorry. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, if there's anything you'd like to see, please drop a comment down in the comment section and let me know what you'd like to see. And as always, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week, and I will see you in the next video. Hasta luego.